Appare-Ranman is a 2020 release that just finished up its run in subbed and just started its run in dubbed. Its story is a wild one, quite literally following the Trans-America Wild Race, a gasoline-powered sprint across the turn-of-the-century United States for a grand sum of $1.51 million. Well, mostly gasoline-powered run. As a publicity stunt for the big boss motor companies, trying to prove the dominance of cars over the old rail system, the race is geared for gas-powered cars. However, that doesn't stop the Japanese engineering mastermind Appare, trapped in the US due to a mishap with his custom steamship, from entering the race in his steamboat-turned-car, bringing a new dimension to the race. Not just in technology though, as the socially devoid engineer sparks the flames of competition in his friendly rivals through his competitive spirit and straightforward attitude. This is one of Appare-Ranman's strongest aspects. Appare is a more accurate portrayal of socially awkward characters than the often walking faux pas that passes for social interactive struggles. Sure, you could call him a walking calculator, given he's able to do complex and stunning calculations on the fly, charting a path through situations by pure logic, but he's also so much more. As a workaholic, he's short with people because his drive to succeed is simply that great. He fails to understand why others help him in times of need, even as he inspired them to be there in the first place. And when he races in his car, a situation he's comfortable in, we see him truly come to life. It's not just a robotic lack of human traits, but a complex mix of them: his workaholism, guarded emotions, rebellion against the old, and much, much more. I'll likely make a video on Appare as a whole in the near future if you want to stick around for that. But I would be hard-pressed to talk about him and no one else. Getting stuck with him in America is Kosame, a combat-meek samurai who follows tradition a bit closer than his counterpart. Trying to get back to Japan for his mystery-arranged fiancée, he works his days away to earn money for a ticket back, agreeing to the wild race only so the prize money can buy him a ticket home. As a more traditionally focused man, you think he'd be quite strict and serious, but then he'll do something like this. Although he can be Appare's grounding at times, he also understands and trusts his companion, knowing the genius will always have a plan. His story is the most engaging next to Appare, covering his transition from a PTSD-stricken man to a warrior who dispels the false strength fronted by the antagonist and a major player in some of the show's themes. The natural third for the pair is Hototo, a young Native American boy seeking the one who killed his father and stole his family's land. Forcing the mantle of a grown man upon himself, he's in between Appare and Kosame. Where Kosame could handle combat situations expertly but is mentally unable to, Hototo throws himself into situations as if he were an experienced warrior, often failing in his assaults. And he closes himself off to others at first, preventing any possible extra hurt than what he's already been through, same as Appare for different reasons. He's the most natural pairing for them, bringing his own satisfying arc and moments as they eventually group up and gather their strengths into one all-encompassing meld. There's even more engaging characters to see as well. They each get an, at minimum, average arc that, even if nothing special, reaffirms their traits and crafts a lovable character. Jing's fight against the all-too-real sexism of the time. Al's quest to prove himself to his powerful family as a talented yet inexperienced racer. Dylan's anti-hero complex. His counterpart TJ's living up to his label of Crazy TJ, and the fear instilled by the murderous and mystery-shrouded Gil the Butcher, who seeks to steal the race for himself by any means in his bulldozer-like vehicle. Speaking of vehicles, we get to another positive aspect of Appare-Ranman. Each racer gets their own unique car to reflect their personality. Appare's eccentric and distinct steam engine, Jing's adapted and scrappy racetrack car, Al's flashy and sleek sports car, Dylan's unassuming utilitarian beast, and TJ's wild and wacky contraption. With their personalities that stand out from a mile away, these cars are the perfect pairs to the bold characters. It's easy to get a feel for all of them and grow attached to your favorites in this soon-to-be classic ensemble. Bold doesn't cover everything, however. Some elements of the show are very subdued and audience trusting. Sure, the racing is built on call-out moments, but for a spectator sport, I'll let that slide. What I'm talking about here is character development. For example, it's near impossible to find a single joke that isn't simultaneously built on and developing the character's personas. Appare quickly offers up Kosame's blades, after failing to offer Kosame's life, that is, if they lose an early race to Al, showing how little he cares for tradition while also shocking his mild-mannered partner. Or serious moments, like later on when they're gearing up for a fight and he says, "My weapon's up here," pointing to his head, only for it to be revealed later he was hiding a net launcher in his poof of hair, showing his literal and logical nature. Even in the races, like Jing's expert cornering to make up for her less advanced car. I could list enough of these to fill a whole 10 minutes, and that's something even some 26 plus episode anime don't achieve that this 13-parter did. Now, for those serious character moments, there's also a hearty helping of them all just being goofballs and ruining what everyone else sees as a super serious event. In episode 5, at the reception before the race, none of them can resist a competition for pole position, breaking out into gunfights, arm wrestling, and a cucumber slicing competition? All while Appare, who joined in at the start, leaves to go finish his work, now disinterested. The announcer even counts them down, adding to the pairing of serious combat and silly action that coats the whole series. Cars will fly, trains will be jumped in front of, and much more that will get even the most moody anime fans hyped up. I'm looking at myself with that one. Something I bring up a bit, it fills that space where sheer ludicrous action backed up by other elements like wild characters who take it all in stride and contrasting setting come together to make the unreal feel believable and unmatched in hype. It's predictable at many points. The twists are numerous but easy to see, so you won't be surprised by what happens, but it'll be satisfying nonetheless. Nothing is below average in Appare-Ranman, meaning the best parts shine super bright, with nothing much bringing them down, and the lack of true twist is compensated by the outcome being so well done, no matter what. Overall, the more I talk about the show, the more I love it, and agree with Mother's Basement's points from their video. Once I got my points down, I checked out the video. Appare-Ranman is cooler than whatever anime you're watching, which reaffirmed a lot of what I thought and gave me some appreciation for a few of the points I was convinced to use here as well. If you're still not convinced and want a longer look at why you should watch the anime, check out the card on screen now for their video. There's so much more I could say, but I think the unique characters and how they meld perfectly, the wild nature and action, and subtle character moments are the biggest draws of the series. Whether you like racing or not, you should give this a watch because you will find a character to love and you will find something for you here, and we have to make sure that this gets a season 2.